Hello, friends. Today we are super excited and privileged to collaborate with Women's March and talking about revolutionary content, radical divine feminism. What is radical divine feminism? Well, it's basically claiming equality, claiming sovereignty, claiming freedom, and celebrating that, which is the true essence of the feminine. We have some revolutionary ideas, and mainly the focus is that our future literally depends on the spiritual awakening of women, girls, and the feminine essence of every human being. So we might think of that as our creative side or our softer side. And we embrace the masculine as partners. So we welcome all of our allies, our friends at Women's March. We speak for a collective at Shakti tribe of masculine and feminine divine beings. This is not a political talk. This is a spiritual talk. I'm going to be talking about the ERA and how unity is our nature and how we can actually create co-creatively a world based in peace and love, which is the essence actually of the divine feminine and the divine masculine together. So this is a very, very profound time, we believe, to be alive. And we suggest that we can operate from higher levels of consciousness. And it's really, really super important today. And the solstice is tomorrow, which some people think, and I feel that this is the true holiday. We were once pagans before Christianity came into the picture, which is really about celebrating life, protecting life, being free spiritually in our mind, body, and spirit. And we're turning to that again. And some things have got to shake off before that actually happens. So I want you to do your own research, not take my word for what I'm saying, what I'm sharing today. My content comes a lot from Ken Burns. There's a couple of great documentaries. One is called Not For Ourselves Alone, which is about the start of the women's movement. It's absolutely fascinating. It's better than reality TV. And also there's another one called Prohibition, which is about the 18th Amendment, which was really passed to protect women and girls and children from literally being beaten up by men, straight out. Okay. And there's also some things I'm just going to put a caveat here. You might be triggered. I'm going to really put this in a positive light. But if you're sensitive, and please just, the main thing is to not be distracted by a lot of the noise out there, a lot of the low vibrations. Our intention is to stay focused on our hearts and vibrate at a higher level of frequency or high level of consciousness. So we're going to start with actually a prayer. This is a feminist movement that is based in spirituality. So thank you all for listening if you're here. So we call upon our allies. We call upon the divine masculine and the people at Women's March. We are here to lead. Women are here to lead with compassion, wisdom, and most of all, love. And remember, it's really about remembering who we are. We are all one family. We are all one tribe, if you will. We are here to bring about a shift. And we're very privileged to be on this earth at this time during the Great Shift. And we're magical beings. We've really been lied to, and this old level of consciousness that is now being deleted from our sphere, from our world, is really about tapping into Mother Earth, relaxing, letting go, trusting ourselves, and surrendering to a higher level of consciousness, which is not dictated to us, but rather something that comes from within us, and we call that Shakti. Okay, so So we declare we are letting go of the old, and we're bringing in the new level of consciousness, and that we have the willpower, we have the ability, we have the skills to partner with the divine masculine and literally create a new world based in peace. And peace is actually the definition for what we would call Shiva. So this is a tradition. This is a yoga tradition that brings in yoga philosophy as well as feminism, and creates a new way, because we don't really feel that traditional religions have hit the spot. In fact, traditional religions, probably more than any other misogynistic system, has done a great deal to control and abuse the divine feminine. And I'll get into that a little bit more on another day, but do your own research. Okay, so there's information on Ken Burns. There's also information on the ERA Coalition, the specifics about the Equal Rights Amendment, which is our 28th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. And also there's some meditations in there. So what this movement is also about is meditating. We're co-creating, we're visualizing a whole new world. So we literally need to reprogram our brain, our consciousness, to let go of the old constructs, patterns, thoughts, beliefs that says that you are not worthy, that you're not sacred. We've all been colonized by misogyny. So it's about deprogramming that. So there's a wonderful partner of ours, Tori, Cota, Robles. There's a link to her site. I recommend you trying her meditations. Okay, so I'm going to get into the summary of our talk today, which is a spiritual talk. It's not political. And it's important that we recognize that religion and governments and systems that are based in misogyny, specifically just leaving out the feminine like we don't exist, has done a great deal to affect our identity adversely. So we're here to shift that, okay? So today we're talking about the Equal Rights Amendment, which is the 28th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, and it basically says that the United States or any other state cannot discriminate anyone based in gender. So if you think feminism is, and this is the basis of feminism. So if you think that feminism is anything other than equality of rights, we're talking about equal rights for women or anyone that doesn't identify as a man in our country, that's not feminism. Feminism is basically we're equal, but we're not the same. We're not the same as men. We're not the same as the masculine. We have a different expression, which is complementary to the masculine, okay? So I'm talking about the ERA. We're talking about unity is our nature. It's our true nature. We've been actually conditioned against our true nature. So we're literally we're reverse engineering misogyny straight out, okay? We're visualizing a new world based in peace. We actually have to see it to be it. And it starts from within us, the peace, okay? So in our yoga traditions, our wisdom traditions, it doesn't matter if you're talking about Christianity and the Gnosticism, the mystery schools of Egypt, Tibetan Buddhism, which is part of my lineage, there's these teachings. They're called rainbow body teachings or light teachings, and those are the meditations I'm talking about. It does a great deal of, it's a great way to create peace within. Getting into your spine, breathing, like we're recognizing that in modern society. We're like, hey, breathing actually helps. Yes, it does. Because we are literally birthing. Like, so you have to breathe when you're birthing a new world that's inside of you and on the outside as well. So we're applying yoga philosophy to modern feminism. So this approach is based in empowerment, not victimhood. So we're not begging, we're not pleading, we're not marching necessarily towards gaining some sort of approval from an external masculine power. Instead, we're claiming our power, we're claiming our sovereignty, we're claiming freedom, and we're celebrating that. So the big things I get today are claim celebration, claim freedom. Okay, so I'm going to kick this off by talking about the ERA. The Equal Rights Amendment is the 28th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which was ratified in January of 2020. This is important because this is about equality of rights for U.S. women. Okay, this is an act of love It's important because this is an act of love from the people of our nation. We've been working on this since 1776 because we consider Abigail Adams one of the mothers of our country, really the mother of feminism. And this amendment, when published, it hasn't been published by the powers that were. So we see that as a shadow. We see the we're going to call it the toxic machismo. Okay, so we don't believe in toxic masculinity. It's actually, the masculine is loving, protective, and holds space for life itself, for the feminine. That's masculinity. So those are the beings that we partner with. We suggest that there's a lot of men out there that want to support us. They want to support this movement. And it's really a celebration. Dancing, singing, chanting, celebrating, like uplifting, experiencing joy. That's our true nature. Okay. So the ERA basically says we have equality. Okay. This is, there's just a small detail that we have empowered Congress to take care of, and they've chosen not to. So that's, in fact, we're just going to get into this. Governmental systems, religious systems, educational systems have never supported women. And one of the basic ways they've done that is leaving women out, like we don't exist. Okay, it's very, very effective. So 80% of the people in our nation do not know about the ratified Equal Rights Amendment. So therefore, we're not holding our leaders accountable for publishing equal rights for all U.S. citizens based in gender, and the possibility of that reverberating out to the entire world and benefiting all of humanity. So it's really the potential for peace on earth. Okay, so it's like, we can call it the low-hanging fruit for peace on earth. Okay, this is something to not dismiss. The partnership with the masculine and the Equal Rights Amendment. So the Equal Rights Amendment is actually a construct. It's a law. It's a 28th Amendment to the Constitution that is a big deal. It's kind of like the Super Bowl, the Tri-Wizard tournament, and the World Cup, winning it for 249 years in a row. It's like a big deal. Okay, we are grateful for the feminists that have come before us, because they've literally put the ball on the 1-inch yard line. All we need to do is drive it over the line. We need masculine energy for that. Most feminist movements are not focused on the ERA. We're focused on a lot of other stuff. We're focused on cat ears. They're cute, but like an amendment is actually really powerful. And I'm going to get into that a little bit more later. So we're going to start with Abigail Adams. This is fun in history. Okay, so again, history, U.S. history is more fascinating than reality TV. So, and it's based in love. So let's go back to March of 1776. Mother of our country, Abigail Adams. She's the wife of John Adams and the mother of John Quincy Adams, both presidents of the United States. Okay, she's a big deal. She's probably the only voice of feminism at the time. She's like, hey, John Adams, he's about ready to go sign the Declaration of Independence. She says, I long to hear that you have declared independency. And by the way, in the new code of laws, which I suppose it will be necessary for you to make, I desire that you would remember the ladies and be more generous and favorable to them than your ancestors. Okay, there's a lot in this. Okay, do not put such unlimited power into the hands of the husbands. Remember, all men would be tyrants if they could. If particular care and attention is not paid to the ladies, we are determined to form a rebellion, and we will not hold ourselves bound by laws in which we have no voice or representation. We will not hold ourselves bound by laws that we are not represented in. Taxation without representation, yes, absolutely. Okay, so this is prophetic. Okay, what's she talking about here? She's talking about Women's March. She's talking about no kings. She's talking about the 4 waves of feminism. She's talking about 5D feminism. This is 5D feminism. Okay. What happened is she wrote this letter to John, and John said, oh, Abigail, you're so saucy. He probably didn't even mention it to the other founding fathers. And if we look at them now, They're slave owners. They didn't consider women. So we could call them misogynists, because again, misogyny is leaving women out. That's actually violence against women, okay? They were colonizers. They decimated the Native American population, okay? But the foundation of the Constitution is really based in democracy and freedom. So, but what happened is women got left out of the Constitution, and the actual language is all men are created equal, and they took it literally, okay? So the Equal Rights Amendment, back to the Equal Rights Amendment, which was ratified in January of 2020. Since then, it's been blocked by the GOP and the current president, okay? So with the Equal Rights Amendment, which is basic equality of rights under the U.S. Constitution, Congress has the authority to pass laws that uphold a new constitutional principle. It gives Congress and the courts stronger tools to combat gender-based violence, pay inequity, pregnancy discrimination, reproductive discrimination, and barriers to healthcare, on and on and on. Just basically women being seen in a different way, women being seen as equals, okay? That's a huge issue for us, okay? Please, also, if you have a question or if you're here, please pop something in the chat to say hello, okay? So the Equal Rights Amendment, which was passed by Congress in 1972 with strong bipartisan support, actually presented by the Republican Party of the time, which is not the same party as the Republican Party is now. They met the constitutional requirements for ratification when Virginia became the 38th state to ratify in January of 2020. So the ERA, if published, would have been enforceable 2 years later on January 27th, 2022. This is significant. That is prior to the fall of Roe, okay? So if anyone is interested in moving forward with publishing the amendment, raising awareness about the ERA, please reach out to me. I've got some ideas. Very powerful companies have signed what's called an amicus brief, including Google and Microsoft and 998 others that said, we need women now. We need women to communicate and to collaborate and create better relationships within our companies. We need women in our workforce, okay? So that's kind of like, when you think about it, for like, if we stop and just think about it, like basic equality for women, that is obvious, right? So that's the level of consciousness we're like working at, like basic equality. That's a no-brainer, right? This is 2025. It's about ready to be 2026. So we don't even want to, like, that's the level of consciousness that and we have constitutional equality. We can move forward with raising awareness about this. It can become a priority or not. We don't know. But in the meantime, what's going to happen is women are going to just remember who we are. The most powerful thing we can do is to be our authentic self. The biggest act of rebellion is to be our authentic self, okay? So we suggest that women, and really everyone, because the masculine and the feminine, the way that we look at it in yoga, they're one being, okay? We have different expressions. So we've been lied to. We've been programmed by limited levels of consciousness and obsolete power structures that are now being deleted, okay? So things are not as they appear. If we get into the spiritual side of this, the wounded masculine, the toxic masculine is crumbling, okay? So the lack of gender equality, we suggest, okay, research this yourself, has deeply limited our own self-identity regardless of gender. So we've been colonized by systemic misogyny. So the first thing, where's the systemic misogyny? It's in me. Like, it was in me. I'm still, like letting go of that. I was raised in a culture that was very patriarchal and very abusive to women. And I don't really want to talk about that stuff. But if you do want to learn a little bit more about how we've been colonized, please check the notes. Again, it's in the in this YouTube video. There's a great channel called Breaking the Patriarchy. She looks at it from 562,000 different angles, and she does a really nice job, okay? So check her out. Okay, so the people of our nation wrote a love letter to women in 1921 called the Equal Rights Amendment, guaranteeing to all equality to all U.S. citizens. That was an act of love. That's why the ERI is important. It's an act of love. It can literally raise, it's like a giant leap for consciousness for worldwide. Okay. So spiritually, and how did this all come about? Spiritually oriented women who are considered property. So we have to look back at like the rights and sentiments. Okay. Seneca Falls, 1848. A group of people came together, rights and sentiments. They were women that were spiritualists. They were outside of politics. They were outside of religion. They barely left the house. Like, this is where women were back then. They only had so many tools in their toolbox. They were scared to speak in public. Okay. They couldn't own property. They were property, and they couldn't open a bank account without a husband or speak without their husband. A lot of the men actually spoke at this convention on behalf of the women, because women were literally afraid to speak in public. Okay. So we've come a long way. And the tactics and the things that the feminists before us have used were absolutely necessary at that time. And they're not necessary anymore. Now it's like we have to just own equality, own our own birthright, spiritual birthright. Okay. So again, big thing, ERA, Equal Rights Amendment, gender equality for everyone, ratified in January of 2020. Since then, it has been blocked by the Republican Party. So what are we going to do? It's up to us to implement and embody gender equality, because we know we've always been equal. Okay. We are the DEI department. Diversity, equity, and inclusion has been deleted from our current toxic machismo administration. And the toxic machismo cannot lead, and does not want to lead, and cannot lead the divine feminine. Okay, so today we have some drama. It's like a freaking Greek tragedy, straight out. Okay, alert of sort of like a trigger alert. Okay, today we are looking at the reality that powerful men have normalized violence. Men that we've trusted, a lot of men that we've trusted, and violence against women and girls. Okay, and women have too. Women have also done this. Okay, what happened in 1848? We couldn't even talk about this. Like domestic violence, we didn't talk about that. We talked about, men were getting drunk and doing stuff that was unkind, and now we're talking about it. So this is a big step. Okay, so we have equality. We have equality of rights under our Constitution. Some of this stuff is coming to light. Okay, so awareness, consciousness is is light. Is light. That's the wisdom teachings. The light's coming into us. It can traumatize us or it can empower us. It's just energy. It's about what we choose to focus on. This determines everything. What do we, as humanity in the United States, choose to focus on? We suggest that when we shift the way that we see the world shifts. So we have to absolutely be the change we wish to make beyond self-interests. That's what women do. We actually, we usually act based on a collaborative way, Matriarchal societies work in a collaborative way, and they support life itself. Okay. So we suggest unity and equality are our true nature. We suggest we're all actually multidimensional beings. We're experiencing an embodied awakening. That's the feminine. So an embodied awakening. We're moving to higher levels of consciousness based in unity, abundance, and equality. We're coming to know that there is no external authority. All the power is within us. Everything else is a lie. All the power is within us. Everything else is a lie. We're quickly moving out of systems based in domination into systems based in love. Moving from illusion of lack into truth of abundance. We're busting out of lies of separation into a unified humanity. We're moving out of a dog-eat-dog programming into partnership consciousness. And this is going to be messy sometimes. Again, it just depends on where is our focus. I suggest we focus on our heart and our soul. We actually get in touch with our heart and our soul every day, whatever that looks like for you. We absolutely need to get comfortable with change and flow into a new level of consciousness that is by you, for you, by the people, for the people. The consciousness has already changed. We, the people, love women, and we, the people, need women. We need women and girls to wake up. Okay? So, again, another suggestion, visualize your divine self in a new peaceful world. The truth is that we are energetic, spiritual, multidimensional beings. We're experiencing an awakening. We're moving to higher levels of consciousness. We invite you to support equality by engaging your waking dream. You're here for a reason. And your exquisite path is perfect for the movement. Your movement. That's Shakti energy. Look that up. What is Shakti energy? That's feminine power. That's life force energy. Together, we are choosing to regard, respect, and protect women, girls, and the feminine expression within us all. If we don't identify as a woman, we can think of the feminine expression as our softer side or our creative side, or an opportunity to surrender our head to our heart and soul. And we embrace the divine masculine as our partners. And at the same time, we turn away, literally turn away from the toxic machismo. They're imploding. Okay, and it's going to be dramatic. We'll just say that. Okay. So now is the time for women to lead with compassion, wisdom, and most of all, love, based in a new world based in peace. We, the people, U.S. citizens, can choose to evolve our consciousness beyond limited thoughts, perceptions, constructs, beliefs, and domination. We can create laws, if necessary, to co-create peace on earth. This may be the ERA may be a new foundation for a whole new world. Who's going to do this? We are. How do we do this? We be our authentic, unconditioned selves. We love ourselves. We have compassion towards ourselves. We transcend trauma. We transcend triggers. We feel it to heal it. There's only one way through it. Get support. Okay. So thank you for joining me again. And I'm going to just close out. I'm going to be talking more about the divine feminine. We're talking about who we are, who we're becoming. We do this with feminine archetypes. We have to see it to be it. So these are archetypes that reflect that the true source of power is within you. Your sovereignty begins in one place. The moment you begin to claim your true nature, our true power, we're claiming our true nature, our true power. Today, I'm asking you, on the eve of the solstice, to write your own love letter to yourself for 2026. What are your intentions? What are your positive, measurable, and specific creations? I invite you to visualize unity, equality, and your true power, your heart and soul. Shakti Tribe and Women's March is challenging you to remember that you are a magical being, not just a divine human, not just a feminist, a wife, mother, sister. We're co-creating a future that all of humanity embodies full sovereignty, where we not only all feel safe, we co-create together. We care for Mother Earth and all of her children, all of her creations. Communities heal. Economic shift to people over profit, and the world remembers how to love again. A diverse circle of humanity, equal, loving, intergenerational, multicultural, maybe even galactic. Women are here to lead with compassion, wisdom, and most of all, love into a new world based in peace. You are the co-creator of the new earth and new world feminism. Please remember your soul. Please remember your magic. Now is the time to remember who you are, Tits up and happy solstice. I hope that we can connect again soon. Blessings.